My name's Deshawn Monroe. And at 63 years old, I can tell you this much. The worst calls don't come during business hours. They come at 1 in the morning when the city's asleep and you're staring at shadows on your ceiling, wondering if the blood on your hands will ever wash clean. The phone lit up my bedroom.
1:03 nachts.
February in Brooklyn, the kind of cold that makes your bones ache. I'd been awake anyway. Sleep left me after the Carmichael job went sideways. 3 men dead. One of them didn't deserve it. That's the thing about this life. You remember the ones who didn't deserve it. Unknown number. In my world, there's no such thing as a wrong number. Every ring means something. A setup. A warning. Sometimes a ghost calling from the past to remind you what you took. I let it ring twice more. My hand hovered over the phone. The glow cut through the darkness like a knife. Then I answered.
Please.
A woman's voice.
Young. Breaking apart like glass.
Please don't hang up. I didn't mean to call you, but I need, she stopped. Breathing hard. They're coming back. Who's coming back? I sat up straight. Where are you? Silence. Just her breath catching in her throat. Then footsteps in the background. Heavy boots on tile. I'm sorry, she whispered. I'm so sorry. The line went dead. I stared at that phone for 5 full minutes. Screen still glowing. Her voice still echoing in my head. That wasn't fear I heard. Fear I knew. Fear screams. Fear begs loud and messy. What I heard was something else. Exhaustion. The kind that settles into your chest when you've been running so long you can't remember what safety feels like. Hi viewers, kindly tell us where you're watching from and what time it is. Warm welcome to the family. I should have deleted the number. Poured another drink. Let whatever was happening to that girl happen without me. I'd walked away from plenty of screams before, but something about that call grabbed hold of my ribs and wouldn't let go. By sunrise, most men would have forgotten it.
Moved on.
Handled their actual business. I traced the number instead. Took me 3 calls, and one favor I didn't want to cash in. The number led to a diner in the Bronx. Eddie's 24-hour. The kind of place that still had vinyl booths and coffee that tasted like rust. I knew it. Used to meet my brother there before the feds put 2 bullets in his spine. I told myself I was just going to drive by. Make sure the girl was breathing. That's it. Nothing more. But I've been lying to myself since 1987. The sun came up red over the bridge. My driver pulled up outside Eddie's at 6:30 a.m. The neon sign buzzed and flickered. Open. Always open. Inside, I could see maybe 4 people. Early shift workers. One old man reading yesterday's paper. And her. Behind the counter. Dark hair pulled back in a bun that was already falling apart. Navy blue apron with a coffee stain on the front. She moved like someone who'd been on her feet too long. Pouring coffee. Wiping down tables. Her eyes kept flicking toward the door. Waiting for something. Or someone. I sat in the car for 10 minutes. Watching. She looked up twice. Both times her face went tight.
Fear.
Fresh and sharp. The 3rd time she looked up, she saw me. Our eyes met through the window. Hers went wide. Not with recognition. With confusion. Like she was trying to place a face she'd seen in a dream. I got out of the car. Walked across the street. The bell above the door rang when I pushed inside. Everyone looked up. Then looked down fast. That's what happens when you carry a certain kind of weight. People feel it before they see it. She froze. Coffee pot still in her hand. You're not Detective Harris, she said. Voice barely above a whisper. No, I said. But I heard your call. Her face went pale. The coffee pot shook in her grip. For a second, I thought she might run. Or deny everything. Pretend she didn't know what I was talking about. Instead, her shoulders dropped. Like a rope that had been holding her up finally snapped. You weren't supposed to hear that, she said softly. Eyes wet but not crying. But thank you. Thank you for coming anyway. Would you answer a call at 1 in the morning from a stranger begging for help? Drop your answer in the comments below. Her name was Shayla Reeves. 24 years old. Been working at Eddie's for 6 months. She told me this while pouring me coffee I didn't ask for. Her hand still shook. The coffee spilled over the rim onto the saucer. Sorry, she muttered. Grabbed a rag. Wiped it up quick. Don't be. I wrapped my hands around the mug. Still warm. Tell me what happened. She looked around the diner. The old man was gone now. Just us and a line cook in the back flipping eggs. She pulled out the chair across from me. Sat down slow, like her legs might give out. I wasn't trying to call you, she said. I was trying to call Detective Harris. He gave me his card 3 weeks ago when I filed a report. Report for what? She swallowed hard. My ex Jamal Booker. I borrowed money from him last year when my mama got sick. Needed it for the hospital bills. He said it was a gift.
No strings.
I already knew where this was going. But there were strings, I said. She nodded. Always are. He came around 2 months ago saying I owed him. Said it wasn't about the money anymore. Said I could pay him back other ways. Her jaw tightened. I told him no. He didn't like that. Jamal Booker. I knew the name. Small-time loan shark out of Queens. Ran numbers for the Santana crew. Not big enough to matter, but big enough to hurt people who couldn't fight back. You went to the cops, I said. Tried to. She laughed. Bitter sound. Went to the precinct. Filed a report. They said they'd look into it. Nothing happened. Then Detective Harris showed up at the diner one night. Said he heard about my case. Gave me his card. Told me to call if Jamal came back. And he came back. Last night. Around midnight. Right after closing. She rubbed her arms like she was cold. He had 2 guys with him. Said he was tired of waiting. Said if I didn't come with him right then, he'd burn this place down with me in it. The diner went quiet. Even the sizzle from the kitchen stopped. What did you do? I asked. I ran to the back. Locked myself in the freezer. Called the number Detective Harris gave me. Her voice cracked. But I was shaking so bad I hit the wrong number. 1 digit off. And you picked up instead. 1 digit. That's all it took. 1 wrong number, and a girl's life landed in my lap. Why didn't you call back? I asked. After you realized your mistake. She looked down at her hands. Because they broke the lock. Pulled me out. Jamal put his hands around my throat and told me next time he wouldn't let go. She touched her neck. I could see the bruises now.
Faint but there.
Purple shadows against brown skin. Then his phone rang. He answered it. His whole face changed. He let me go. Told his guys to leave. They just walked out. Someone called him off, I said. I don't know who. But after they left, I tried calling that number again. Your number. It rang and rang. You didn't answer. So, I figured maybe it was a sign. That I should just handle it myself. Or run. I don't know. She was crying now. Silent tears that she wiped away fast like she was ashamed of them. I'd seen plenty of people cry. Seen them beg. Seen them break. But something about the way Shayla cried, quiet, almost apologetic, made something in my chest pull tight. You did the right thing, I said. Calling for help. But I called the wrong person. Maybe. I leaned back. Or maybe you called exactly who you needed to. She looked up at me then. Really looked. Her eyes moved over my face. The scar on my jaw. The silver in my beard. The expensive watch on my wrist. She was putting pieces together. You're not a cop, she said. Not a question.
No.
Then what are you? I took a sip of the coffee. Bitter and burnt. Perfect for a morning like this. Someone who gives answers, I said. Cops ask questions. I give answers. Her breath caught. Are you saying you'll help me? I'm saying Jamal Booker made a mistake putting his hands on you. I stood up. Dropped a 50 on the table. And I don't like men who make mistakes like that. She stood too. Fast. Wait. I can't pay you. I don't have money. I can't. I didn't ask for money. Then why would you help me? I looked at her. This girl with bruises on her neck and fear in her eyes who still showed up for her shift at 6 a.m. Who still poured coffee, with shaking hands. Who still said thank you to a stranger, who answered a call that wasn't meant for him. Because someone should have helped my brother when he needed it, I said. And nobody did. I walked toward the door. The bell rang when I pushed it open. Cold air hit my face. "Mr. Monroe," she called out. I stopped. Turned back. She was standing behind the counter again, hands gripping the edge. What happens now? I looked at her one more time, memorized her face, the way she stood, the hope fighting with fear in her eyes.
Now,
I said, "You go about your day, work your shift, go home, lock your doors." And Jamal? I stepped out into the cold morning light. You let me worry about Jamal. What would you do if someone threatened to burn down your workplace with you inside? Tell us in the comments. I didn't see Shayla again for 3 days. That was intentional. In my line of work, you don't rush into things. You watch. You wait. You learn the patterns. Jamal Booker had patterns. Men like him always did. He ran his operation out of a pool hall in Queens. The Lucky Eight. Terrible place. Smelled like old beer and cigarette smoke that had soaked into the walls over 30 years. I sent Marcus to watch the place. Marcus was my eyes when I needed distance. 26 years old.
quick, quiet.
Loyal as they come. He called me on day 2. "Jamal's here every night," Marcus said. "Shows up around 9. Leaves around 2. Always has the same 2 guys with him. Darnell and Preach. Both carrying. They collect from folks who come in the back door. Small bills. Scared faces. How many people? Maybe 10 a night. Different faces each time. 10 people. 10 lives Jamal had his hooks in. And Shayla was just one of them. What about cops?" I asked. "Precinct's 4 blocks away. But nobody rolls by the Lucky Eight. Ever." That meant protection. Someone on the inside keeping Jamal's operation clean. That's how men like him stayed in business. They paid the right people, made the right threats, built walls nobody wanted to climb. But I've been climbing walls my whole life. On day 3, I went back to Eddie's. Different time. 8 p.m. The dinner rush was winding down. Shayla was behind the counter again. Same apron. Different coffee stain. When she saw me walk in, her face changed. Relief mixed with something else. Something I didn't want to name. "You came back," she said. "Told you I would." She poured me coffee, without asking. Sat down across from me like we'd done this 100 times. Like we were old friends catching up. We weren't. But maybe that's what survival looked like. Finding familiar faces in unfamiliar places. "Has he come back?" I asked. She shook her head.
No.
"But I keep expecting him to. Every time the door opens, I think it's going to be him." "It won't be." "How do you know?" "Because I'm handling it." She leaned forward. Voice dropped low. "What does that mean? Handling it?" I didn't answer right away. Just looked at her. She had her hair down tonight. It fell around her shoulders in soft curls. Made her look younger. More vulnerable. But her eyes. Those eyes had seen too much to ever be young again. "It means you don't have to be scared anymore," I said. "But what are you going to do to him?" "Does it matter?" She sat back. Crossed her arms.
Yes.
"It matters. I don't want you to kill him because of me." "I'm not doing anything because of you," I said. "I'm doing it because men like Jamal don't stop. They take and take until there's nothing left to take. Then they move on to the next person. The next girl. The next victim." "So you're doing this for everyone he's hurt?" "Maybe. Or maybe I'm doing it because I can." She studied my face, searching for something.
Truth. Lies.
I didn't know which one she wanted to find. "My mama used to say there's no such thing as a good monster," she said quietly. "But I'm starting to think maybe she was wrong. I'm not good, Shayla. You answered a call that wasn't meant for you. You showed up. You're helping me when nobody else would." She reached across the table, put her hand over mine.
Warm. Soft.
"That sounds pretty good to me." I pulled my hand back, not because I wanted to, because I had to. "Don't make me something I'm not," I said. "I've done things that would make you run if you knew." "Then why do you look so sad when you talk about them?"
The question hit me in the chest. Hard.
I'd spent 40 years building walls around the guilt. Around the memories. Around the faces of people I couldn't save, and the ones I shouldn't have hurt. And this girl I barely knew just walked up and knocked on the door like it was nothing. Because some mistakes don't wash off, I said. The diner door opened. A couple walked in, laughing about something. Shayla stood up, grabbed her notepad, back to work. But before she walked away, she looked at me one more time. "You're not a mistake, Mr. Monroe," she said. "You answered when I called. That's not a mistake. That's fate."
Fate.
I didn't believe in fate. I believed in choices, in consequences, in blood and bullets, and the way a man's face looks when he realizes he's about to die. But maybe this girl believed enough for both of us. I left the diner that night with a plan. Tomorrow, I'd go see Jamal Booker. Tomorrow, I'd remind him that some debts get paid in ways he didn't expect. Tomorrow, this would all be over. Or so I thought. Do you believe in fate? Or do you think we make our own luck? Let us know what you think. Jamal walked into Eddie's the next night at 11:45, 15 minutes before closing. I'd been sitting in the corner booth for 2 hours waiting for him. Shayla didn't know I was there. I told her to take the night off. She didn't listen. Stubborn. I respected that. He came in with Darnell and Preach, just like Marcus said he would. Darnell was tall, built like a boxer. Preach was shorter, but meaner. Had that look in his eyes like he enjoyed the work. Those were always the dangerous ones, not the big guys. The ones who smiled while they hurt you. Shayla was behind the counter when they walked in. She froze, coffee pot in one hand, rag in the other. Her whole body went stiff. Well, Jamal said. Voice smooth, too smooth, like honey over broken glass. Look who's still here. Thought maybe you'd finally learn to listen. We're closing, Shayla said. Her voice didn't shake. I was proud of her for that. That's fine. Won't take long. Jamal sat down at the counter. Darnell and Preach flanked him on either side. Just came to collect what's mine. I don't owe you anything. Jamal laughed. Darnell and Preach joined in. Rehearsed. Like they'd done this 100 times in 100 different places. That's not how this works, baby girl, Jamal said. You took my money. That means you owe me. And I'm tired of waiting. That's when I stood up. The sound of the booth creaking made all three of them turn. Jamal's face changed when he saw me. Recognition flickered in his eyes. Then fear. Quick and sharp. He tried to hide it, smiled instead. But I'd seen it. That flash of knowing exactly who I was and what I could do. Deshaun Monroe, he said, trying to sound casual. Failing. Didn't know you ate at places like this. Everyone's got to eat somewhere, Jamal. I walked toward the counter. Slow. Deliberate. Question is, why are you here? Just having a conversation with my friend. She doesn't look like your friend. That's between me and her. I reached the counter. Stood next to Darnell. He was sweating. Could smell it. Fear has a scent. Sharp. Metallic. Like copper and salt. Here's what's going to happen, I said. Voice low.
Calm.
You're going to walk out that door. You're going to forget Shayla's name. Forget her face. Forget she exists. And you're never going to come back here. Jamal's smile faded. And if I don't, then I'm going to break every bone in your hand, one at a time, until you can't hold a phone to make threats anymore. Silence. Heavy and thick. The kind that pressed down on your chest and made it hard to breathe. Preach reached for something under his jacket. I moved faster. Grabbed his wrist. Twisted. The gun clattered to the floor. He gasped. I didn't let go. Don't, I said. Darnell stepped forward. I looked at him. Just looked. He stopped moving. Sit down, I told them both. They sat. I turned to Jamal. He was still trying to hold on to his smile. But it was cracking now, breaking apart like glass. You don't know who you're messing with, he said. I got people. Big people. They'll come for you. Let them come. I leaned against the counter. Casual. Like we were discussing the weather. But before they do, I want you to understand something. This girl right here? I nodded toward Shayla. She's under my protection now. That means if anything happens to her, if she stubs her toe, if she catches a cold, if she has a bad day at work, I'm going to assume it's because of you. And I'm going to find you, wherever you are, whatever hole you crawled into. And I'm going to make you wish you'd never heard her name. Jamal's jaw clenched. You can't protect her forever. I don't have to. I just have to protect her longer than you're alive. The weight of that statement settled over the room like fog.
Cold.
Suffocating. Jamal stood up.
Slow.
His voice followed. Preach was still holding his wrist. Darnell kept his eyes on the floor. This isn't over, Jamal said. Yes, I said. It is. They walked to the door. Preach picked up his gun on the way out. I let him. They pushed through the door and disappeared into the night. The bell rang.
Once. Twice.
Then silence. Shayla was still standing behind the counter, hands gripping the edge so hard her knuckles were white. She was breathing fast, shallow breaths that caught in her chest. You okay? I asked. She nodded.
Didn't speak.
I walked over to her, gently pulled her hands off the counter. They were shaking. Hey, I said softly. Look at me.
She did.
Her eyes were wet but no tears fell. It's over, I said. He won't come back. How do you know? Because he's scared of me. And scared men don't come back. She let out a breath she'd been holding, long and shaky. Then she did something I didn't expect. She hugged me, just wrapped her arms around my chest and held on.
Tight.
Like I was the only thing keeping her from falling apart. I stood there, frozen, didn't know what to do with my hands. Didn't know how to respond. It had been years since anyone hugged me. Years since anyone saw me as something other than a weapon. Thank you, she whispered against my chest. Thank you. I finally put my arms around her, careful, like she might break. You're safe now, I said. But even as I said it, I knew it was a lie. Because in my world, nobody stays safe for long. Have you ever stood up to someone who scared you? Share your story in the comments below. 2 weeks passed. Jamal didn't come back. Neither did his boys. Shayla kept working her shifts at Eddie's. I kept showing up. Not every day, but enough. Enough that the other waitresses started nodding at me. Enough that the cook knew how I liked my eggs. Enough that it started feeling normal. That should have been my first warning. Normal was dangerous in my line of work. Normal made you soft. Made you forget that the world was full of sharp edges waiting to cut. But I ignored the warnings. Ignored the voice in my head that said I was getting too close. Too involved. Because for the first time in 20 years, I wasn't thinking about the Carmichael job. Wasn't seeing the face of the man who didn't deserve to die. Wasn't counting the hours until sleep finally dragged me under. I was thinking about Shayla. The way she laughed when the jukebox played old Motown. The way she always saved me a slice of cherry pie even when they ran out. The way she looked at me, not with fear or calculation, but with something that felt dangerously close to trust. We talked. Late nights after her shift ended. She told me about her mama. How she'd passed 3 months ago. How the hospital bills had buried Shayla so deep she couldn't see daylight. How Jamal had seemed like the only option at the time. I knew better, she said one night. We were sitting in that same corner booth. 3 a.m. The city outside was quiet. Mama always said nothing's free. But I was desperate. And desperate people make stupid choices. Wasn't stupid, I said. You were trying to save someone you loved. That's not stupid. That's human. She smiled.
Sad.
You always know the right thing to say.
No.
I just know what it's like to lose people. She reached across the table, took my hand. Her fingers were warm.
Small.
They fit in mine like they'd been made to. Tell me about your brother, she said. I told her about Marcus. About the work I did. But I hadn't told her about Terrence. My little brother. The one who got caught in the crossfire of my choices. His name was Terrence, I said. Voice rough. He was 22. Wanted to be a teacher. Can you believe that? Growing up where we did, seeing what we saw, and he still wanted to teach kids. What happened to him? I happened to him. I was moving up in the organization. Making noise. Making enemies. One of them decided to send me a message. I pulled my hand back. I couldn't look at her. They shot Terrence outside his girlfriend's apartment. 4 bullets. Left him bleeding in the street. Shayla's breath caught. Deshawn, I'm so sorry. I killed the men who did it. All of them. Took me 3 months, but I found every single one. Made sure they knew why they were dying. I looked up at her then. Let her see the truth in my eyes. That's who I am, Shayla. I'm the man who kills people. Who burns lives down. Who leaves nothing but ashes. She didn't pull away. Didn't flinch. Just looked at me with those big eyes full of something I didn't deserve. You're also the man who answered a wrong number at 1 a.m, she said quietly. Who showed up. Who protected me when nobody else would. Maybe you've done terrible things. But you're here now. Doing something good. That has to count for something. I wanted to believe her. Wanted to believe that all the blood could be washed away with one good deed. But I knew better. Blood doesn't wash. It stains.
Still.
For those 2 weeks, I pretended. Pretended I was just a man having coffee with a woman who made him feel less alone. Pretended the past wasn't sitting on my chest every night. Pretended this could last. Then Marcus called. I was at the diner. Shayla had just brought me that slice of cherry pie. I answered the phone. Boss, Marcus said. Voice tight. We got a problem. What kind of problem? The body kind. Jamal Booker turned up dead 2 hours ago. Behind the Lucky 8. 2 bullets in the chest. The world tilted. Just slightly. Enough to make everything feel wrong. What? I said. Cops are calling it gang retaliation. But word on the street is different. Word is someone saw you at Eddie's the night you confronted him. Now they're asking questions. I looked at Shayla. She was wiping down a table, humming along to the radio, completely unaware that everything was about to fall apart. Who's asking questions? I said. Detective Harris. The one Shayla tried to call. My blood went cold. He coming for me? Not yet. But he's looking. And if he finds the right people to talk to, he will be. I hung up. Sat there for a long moment. The pie in front of me suddenly looked like ash. Everything okay? Shayla asked. She'd walked over. Concerned.
Yeah, elite.
Everything's fine. But it wasn't fine. Because Jamal Booker was dead. And I knew in my bones, that I was about to find out exactly who pulled that trigger.
And why?
What do you think happened to Jamal? Drop your theories in the comments. Detective Raymond Harris showed up at my penthouse 3 days after Jamal's body turned up cold. I was expecting him. What I wasn't expecting was the folder in his hand.
Thick.
Full of papers that had my name written all over them. Monroe, he said when I opened the door.
Didn't ask to come in.
Just walked past me like he owned the place. We need to talk. Then talk. He dropped the folder on my glass coffee table. Papers spilled out. Crime scene photos. Witness statements. Phone records. All pointing in one direction.
Meaning?
Jamal Booker, Harris said. Hands in his pockets.
Calm.
Too calm. Small-time loan shark. Found dead behind his place of business. 2 bullets. Close range. Professional work. And you're here because? Because 3 witnesses saw you threaten him at Eddie's diner 2 weeks ago. Said you told him if anything happened to a certain waitress, you'd find him and make him regret it. I sat down on my couch, picked up one of the photos. Jamal's body sprawled on dirty concrete. Eyes open.
Surprised.
Like death caught him off guard. I did threaten him, I said.
Put the photo down.
But I didn't kill him. Then who did? How would I know? Harris laughed. No humor in it.
Come on, Monroe.
You've been in this game 40 years. You know exactly how this works. Man like Jamal doesn't die without someone ordering it. And right now, all signs point to you. Signs can be wrong. Can they? He sat down across from me, leaned forward. Here's what I think happened. You met this girl, Shayla Reeves. Pretty thing.
Sweet.
Got herself into trouble with the wrong guy. You decided to play hero. Warn Jamal off. But warning wasn't enough. So you had him killed. If I wanted Jamal dead, he would have died that night at the diner. Maybe. Or maybe you wanted it to look clean. Professional. Like gang retaliation so nobody would come looking at you. I met his eyes. Harris was good. Better than most cops I'd dealt with. He knew how to read people.
Knew how to spot lies. But he was wrong about this.
And that scared me more than being right. I didn't kill Jamal Booker, I said again. Slower this time. But I know who did. That got his attention. He sat back. Crossed his arms. Who? The girl. Silence. Heavy.
Thick.
Harris's face didn't change, but his eyes did. Calculation running behind them. Shayla Reeves killed Jamal Booker, he said. You expect me to believe that? I don't care what you believe. I care about the truth. Then tell me the truth. I stood up, walked to the window,
Looked out at the city.
all those lights, all those lives, most of them just trying to survive, just trying to make it through one more day without the world crushing them. Jamal came back, I said. After I warned him, he waited until I wasn't around, showed up at the diner, told Shayla he'd kill her if she didn't come with him. She grabbed his gun. They fought. She pulled the trigger. How do you know this? Because she told me. When? Yesterday. Harris stood up, walked over to where I was standing. We were the same height, same build, different sides of the same coin. If what you're saying is true, he said quietly, then why are you taking the fall? Why not just give her up? I turned to look at him, really look, tried to see if there was any mercy left in him, any understanding. But all I saw was a cop doing his job. Because she doesn't deserve what comes next, I said. She was defending herself. She was scared. And if you arrest her, put her through the system, her life is over. She'll never recover from that. So you'd rather take the charge? Go down for murder you didn't commit. I've done worse things and walked away clean. This one I can live with. Harris shook his head. You're lying. I don't know why, but you're lying. And I'm going to prove it. He walked to the door.
Stopped.
Turn back. Stay in the city, Monroe. Don't make me come looking for you. Then he was gone. I stood at that window for an hour after he left, watching the sun set over buildings that had seen more blood than most battlefields, thinking about Shayla, about the way her hands shook when she told me what happened, about the fear in her eyes when she said Jamal wouldn't stop, that she had to do it. My phone buzzed. Text from Marcus. We need to meet.
Now.
I grabbed my coat and left. What would you do if someone you cared about confessed to murder? Would you protect them or turn them in? Tell us below. Marcus met me at the old warehouse in Red Hook, place we used for meetings that needed to stay off the books. It was raining.
Hard.
The kind of rain that felt like punishment. He was already there when I arrived. Pacing. That was my first clue something was wrong. Marcus never paced. What is it? I asked. He handed me an envelope.
Manila.
Worn at the edges like it had been carried around for days. Shayla gave this to me yesterday, he said. Told me not to open it unless something happened to her. My stomach dropped. What do you mean unless something happens to her? She said she was going away. That she couldn't stay here anymore. That people were asking questions, and it was only a matter of time before the truth came out. I ripped open the envelope. Inside was a single photograph. A little girl, maybe 6 years old, dark curls, big eyes, holding a stuffed rabbit that had seen better days. And on the back, in Shayla's handwriting, her name is Amara. She's my niece. My sister died last year, and I've been taking care of her. If anything happens to me, please find her.
Please keep her safe.
She's at the Sunshine Children's Home in Queens. Tell her I loved her. Tell her I tried. My hands were shaking. Actually shaking. I couldn't remember the last time that happened. Where's Shayla now? I asked. Marcus looked at the ground. I don't know. She left 2 days ago. Didn't say where she was going. Just handed me the envelope and walked away. 2 days ago?
Why didn't you tell me?
Because she made me promise not to. Said you'd try to stop her. Said it was better this way. I wanted to hit something, wanted to tear the whole warehouse apart. Instead, I just stood there, holding a picture of a little girl who was about to lose the only family she had left. The diner, I said. When did it happen? What? Eddie's. When did it burn down? Marcus's face went pale. How did you know? Because that's what men like Jamal's crew do when they can't get to the person they want. They burn everything to the ground. It happened last night. Electrical fire, they said. Nobody was inside, but the whole place is gone. I closed my eyes, saw Shayla behind that counter,
pouring coffee,
saving me cherry pie, looking at me like I was something more than a killer, like I was someone worth knowing.
She's alive, I said.
She has to be. Boss, if she set that fire to cover her tracks. She didn't set it. Jamal's people did. They're tying up loose ends, making sure nobody talks. Then we need to find her before they do. I opened my eyes, looked at Marcus, my most loyal soldier, the closest thing I had to family anymore.
No, I said.
We need to find the girl first. The girl?
Amara.
If they can't find Shayla, they'll go after her niece. Use her as leverage. We get to Amara first. We keep Shayla's only reason for running safe. Marcus nodded. What about the cops? Harris thinks I killed Jamal. That buys us time. He's so focused on building a case against me, he won't see what's really happening. And what's really happening? I looked down at the photograph again. This little girl with her stuffed rabbit. Innocent. Unaware that the world was full of men who would use her to get what they wanted. War, I said quietly. That's what's happening. And I'm going to end it before it starts. We left the warehouse together. Rain still coming down. I gave Marcus instructions. Find the girl. Keep her hidden. Don't trust anyone. Not even people we'd worked with for years. I had different work to do. I drove to the remains of Eddie's diner. Yellow tape everywhere. Firefighters had left hours ago. The whole place was just charred wood and broken glass. The neon sign, the one that always said open, was hanging by a wire. Flickering. On and off. On and off. I stood there in the rain, looking at what used to be the one place in the city that felt like it could be clean, could be good. And that's when I saw it, tucked under a piece of collapsed roof. A coffee mug, chipped,
stained,
but intact. The one Shayla always gave me. I picked it up, held it in my hands, and for the first time since Terrence died, I felt something crack inside my chest. Something that had been frozen for 20 years suddenly broke open. She was alive. She had to be. Because if she wasn't, if they'd gotten to her already.
My phone rang.
Unknown number. I answered. Deshawn. Shayla's voice. Barely a whisper.
Scared.
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean for any of this to happen. But you need to know something. About that night. About Jamal. Where are you? I said. Tell me where you are. I can't. They're looking for me. They know what I did. They know I saw something I wasn't supposed to see. What did you see?
Static.
Then her voice again. Broken. The person who ordered Jamal killed. It wasn't you. It wasn't his crew. It was. The line went dead. I called back. Straight to voicemail. I stood there in the ruins of Eddie's diner. Rain soaking through my clothes. Holding a coffee mug and a phone that couldn't give me answers. And somewhere in this city, Shayla was running. Running from something worse than Jamal Booker's ghost. Running from the truth. Who do you think ordered Jamal's murder? Drop your theories in the comments right now. It took me 4 days to find Amara. 4 days of calling in every favor I had left. 4 days of Marcus working contacts in the foster system. 4 days of barely sleeping. Barely eating. Just moving. Always moving. The Sunshine Children's Home was exactly what it sounded like. Bright yellow paint. Playground out front. Kids' drawings in the windows. The kind of place that tried real hard to pretend the world wasn't cruel. I walked in wearing a suit I hadn't touched in years. Told them I was Amara's uncle. Showed them forged papers Marcus had pulled together. They didn't ask many questions. They never do when you look the part and carry yourself like you belong. Amara was in the common room, playing with blocks by herself. Other kids were running around,
laughing,
screaming. She just sat there, building a tower, knocking it down, building it again. She looked exactly like the photograph. Same curls, same eyes, same stuffed rabbit sitting next to her. I knelt down beside her.
Slow.
Careful not to scare her. Hi, Amara, I said. My name's Deshawn. She looked up, studied my face, then went back to her blocks. Auntie Shayla said not to talk to strangers, she said. Voice small but firm. That's smart. Your Auntie Shayla is very smart. Do you know her?
Ida.
She asked me to come get you, to keep you safe. Amara stopped building, looked at me again. This time there were tears in her eyes. Is she okay? Amara asked. Nobody will tell me if she's okay. I wanted to lie, tell this little girl that everything would be fine, that her aunt was coming back, that the world wasn't as dark as it actually was. But I'd spent 40 years lying, and I was tired. I don't know, I said, but I'm going to find out. And until I do, I need to make sure you're somewhere safe. Can you trust me to do that? She picked up her rabbit, held it close. Auntie Shayla said I should always trust people who tell the truth, even when the truth is scary. She's right. Amara stood up, put her small hand in mine. Okay, I'll come with you. We left the home that afternoon. I had Marcus set up a safe house in Westchester. Big property.
Gates.
Security. The kind of place nobody could get to without me knowing. Amara didn't ask many questions during the drive, just held her rabbit and looked out the window. When we got there, I showed her to her room. It had toys,
books,
everything a kid could need. Will you stay? She asked when I was about to leave. For a while, I said. Good. She climbed onto the bed. I don't like being alone. Me neither, kid. I stayed with her until she fell asleep. Watched her chest rise and fall. So small. So vulnerable. And I made a promise right there. Same promise I made when Terrence died. That I would burn the whole world down before I let anything happen to her. Marcus called around midnight. We got a problem, he said. What now? Jamal's crew. They know about the girl. Word is they're planning to grab her. Use her to draw Shayla out. How would they know about her? Someone talked. Someone inside the home. They got paid off. My blood went cold. How much time do we have? Maybe a day. Maybe less. I looked at Amara sleeping. Peaceful. Unaware. Then we move, I said. Tonight. But I never got the chance. Because at 2:17 a.m., every light in the safe house went out. I grabbed my gun, moved to Amara's room. She was still asleep. I scooped her up, rabbit and all. She barely stirred. Marcus. I whispered into my phone. We're compromised. I'm 10 minutes out. Hold tight. But 10 minutes might as well have been 10 hours. I heard footsteps. Downstairs. Multiple people. Moving quiet but not quiet enough. I carried Amara to the bathroom, locked us inside, put her in the bathtub, covered her with blankets. Stay here, I whispered. Don't make a sound. No matter what you hear. Her eyes went wide. Scared. But she nodded. I stepped out, closed the door, stood in the hallway with my gun raised. The first man came around the corner. I didn't recognize him. Didn't matter. I fired once. He dropped. The second man was smarter. Stayed back. Started shooting. Bullets tore through the walls. I ducked into a bedroom. Returned fire. Then I heard Marcus's voice. Boss. North side. He'd come in through the back. Now it was 2 against however many they brought. It was over in 3 minutes. For bodies.
None of them mine.
None of them Marcus's. I went back to the bathroom. Opened the door. Amara was still in the tub. Shaking. Crying. But alive. It's okay, I said. Picked her up. It's over. But it wasn't over. Because when Marcus checked the bodies, he found something. A phone. With a text message still on the screen. Bring the girl to the old church on Malcolm X Boulevard. Midnight tomorrow.
Come alone.
Or we kill Shayla where she stands. They had her. They'd had her this whole time. And now they wanted to trade. Would you risk everything to save someone you love? Tell us what you would do. The church was abandoned. Had been for 15 years. Broken windows. Graffiti on the walls. The kind of place where deals got made and people disappeared. I showed up at 11:45. 15 minutes early. Gun tucked in the back of my waistband. Knife strapped to my ankle. Marcus was 2 blocks away with Amara. If this went wrong, he had instructions to get her somewhere far. Somewhere they'd never find her. The church doors were open. I walked inside. It was dark except for a few candles someone had lit. They cast shadows that moved across the walls like ghosts. Deshaun Monroe. A voice from the altar.
Male. Smooth.
Familiar. I walked closer. The candlelight caught his face. Detective Raymond Harris. My blood froze. You. He smiled. Surprised? Should have seen it coming. Most people don't. That's what makes it work. The cop nobody suspects. The one investigating the crime while actually running the operation. I looked around. Where is she? Safe. For now. He gestured to the left. Shayla stepped out from behind a column. Hands tied. Mouth taped. But alive. Her eyes found mine. Terrified. Apologizing without words. Let her go, I said. You know how this works. You give me something. I give you something. The girl isn't here. Harris's smile faded. That wasn't the deal. Deal changed. He pulled out a gun. Pointed it at Shayla's head. Then she dies. You kill her, and you get nothing. No leverage. No girl. Just a body and me knowing exactly who you are. Harris's jaw clenched. You're bluffing. Am I? You really want to test that? Silence. Long tense. The kind that stretches until something breaks. Finally, Harris lowered the gun. What do you want? The truth. Why Jamal? Why frame me? Harris laughed. Bitter. Jamal was getting sloppy. Talking too much. Drawing attention. He had to go. And you? You were the perfect fall guy. Known criminal. History of violence. Everyone would believe you did it. Except I didn't.
No.
Shayla did. But I couldn't have her taking the fall. She was too useful. I looked at Shayla. Her eyes were streaming tears. Useful how? She worked for me. Has been for 6 months. Gathering information on people who came into that diner. People like you. The world tilted. Just slightly. Enough to make everything feel wrong. You're lying, I said. Am I? Harris walked over to Shayla. Ripped the tape off her mouth. Tell him. Shayla's voice came out broken.
Raw. I'm sorry, Deshaun.
I didn't have a choice. He said he'd hurt Amara if I didn't help him. Said he'd make sure she disappeared into the system where I'd never find her. So you played me, I said. Couldn't keep the hurt out of my voice. The call.
The tears.
All of it.
No.
She shook her head hard. The call was real. Jamal was real. The fear was real. But Harris found out. He used it. Used me. Made me get close to you so he could figure out how to bring you down. And the fire? Harris answered. My insurance. Destroy the evidence. Make it look like Jamal's crew was cleaning up. Keep everyone looking in the wrong direction. I wanted to kill him. Right there. Put a bullet between his eyes and walk away. But I couldn't. Because he still had leverage. Still had Shayla. And somewhere out there, Amara was waiting for me to come back. Here's what's going to happen, I said. Voice cold.
Calm.
You're going to let Shayla go. And I'm going to forget this conversation ever happened. And if I don't, then I make one phone call and every cop in the city knows you're dirty. Every criminal you ever put away gets their cases reopened. Every family you destroyed gets justice. Harris's face went pale. You're bluffing. Try me. We stood there. 2 men on opposite sides. Both knowing this could only end one way. Then Harris did something I didn't expect.
He laughed.
Really laughed. You know what, Monroe? I respect you. Always have. So I'll make you a deal. You walk away. Forget about Shayla. Forget about all of this. And I'll forget about Amara. Not a chance. Then we both lose. He raised his gun, aimed at Shayla.
I pulled mine faster.
One shot.
Clean.
Harris dropped. I ran to Shayla, cut her hands free. She collapsed into me,
Sobbing.
I'm sorry, she kept saying. I'm so sorry. I know, I said. I know. We left that church together. Left Harris bleeding on the floor. By morning, I'd made calls. Fixed the evidence. Made it look like Harris was killed in a shootout with Jamal's crew. Justice served. Case closed. Shayla and Amara left the city that week. New names. New lives. I gave them enough money to disappear. To be safe. I never saw them again. Do you think Shayla deserved a second chance? Or should Deshawn have walked away? Share your thoughts. 5 years later, I was living on the coast of North Carolina. Small town.
Quiet.
The kind of place where nobody asked questions about your past because everyone had one they didn't want to talk about. I'd left the life. Walked away from the organization. From the blood. From the weight of all those choices. Marcus took over. He was good at it. Better than I ever was. I ran a small restaurant. Nothing fancy. Just good food and strong coffee. It reminded me of Eddie's. Of a time when I thought I could be something other than what I was. One evening, a woman walked in. She was wearing sunglasses, even though the sun was setting. Dark hair pulled back. Moving like someone who didn't want to be noticed. She sat at the counter. I was wiping down glasses. Didn't look up right away. Coffee? I asked. Please. I poured her a cup. Slid it across the counter. That's when she took off her sunglasses.
Shayla.
My hand froze. The coffee pot nearly slipped from my grip. Hello, Deshawn, she said quietly. You shouldn't be here. I know. But I had to see you. Had to tell you something. I looked around. The restaurant was empty, except for one old couple in the corner. I leaned against the counter. Where's Amara? Safe.
Happy.
She's in college now. Studying to be a teacher. Shayla smiled. Sad but real. She doesn't remember much about that night. I made sure of it. Good. But I remember everything. She reached across the counter.
Took my hand.
Hers was warm. Familiar. I remember a man who answered a wrong call at 1 a.m. Who showed up when he didn't have to. Who saved my life even after I lied to him. You had your reasons. Bad reasons. Scared reasons. Tears filled her eyes. But you still saved me. You still protected Amara. You gave us a life when we had nothing. What do you want, Shayla? She pulled out an envelope. Put it on the counter. I wanted to give you this. And to say thank you. For everything. I opened the envelope. Inside was a photograph. Shayla and Amara. Both smiling. Standing in front of a house with a white picket fence. Living the life I helped them get. We're happy, Shayla said. Because of you. I looked at that photograph for a long time. At their faces. At the peace in their eyes. I'm glad, I said finally. Shayla stood up. Put her sunglasses back on. There's something else. Something I never told you. What? That night at the church. When Harris had me tied up.
He told me his plan.
Said he was going to kill you and blame it on Jamal's crew. Close all the loose ends. So, I'm the one who called Marcus. Told him where we were. Gave him the chance to set up backup. She smiled. You saved me first. I saved you back. Then she walked to the door.
Stopped.
Turned back one last time. That call I made to you? The wrong number? It wasn't fate, Deshawn. It was a miracle. And miracles don't come around twice. She left. I stood there holding that photograph. Thinking about wrong numbers and right choices. About how one moment at 1 a.m. can change everything. My phone rang. I looked down at the screen. Unknown number. I smiled. Answered it anyway. Hello. A woman's voice. young,
scared.
Please, I know this is crazy, but I need help. I didn't know who else to call. And just like that, I was back. Because some things never change. Some calls you have to answer. Even when you know they'll cost you everything. Tell me where you are, I said. Sometimes the quietest justice isn't revenge. It's showing up. It's answering. It's being there when nobody else will. And sometimes salvation sounds like a wrong number in the middle of the night. If this story moved you, if you believe one person can change everything, then we need you to do something right now. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on notifications. Because we tell stories like this every single week. Stories about redemption. About second chances. About people who show up when the world says walk away. Don't miss the next one. Your support keeps these stories alive. And drop a comment below. Tell us about a time someone answered when you called for help. Your story might inspire someone else who's struggling right now. We're building a family here. A community of people who believe justice can still be quiet. That heroes don't always wear capes. Sometimes they just answer the phone. So subscribe.
Comment.
Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Because the next story we tell might be the one that changes your life. See you in the next one.